Good morning. Welcome to the market forecast for Friday, October the 23rd. I'm John Hoagland. As always, thanks for trusting me with your time. Very happy to be back with you today. As always, we're going to look at these markets in context through the lens of risk management. I hope that things have been going well for you for the last couple of weeks. I've been out. I have been a little bit under the weather. I'll talk a little bit about that in a little bit. Just going to kind of focus on the markets here this morning. 8:45 this morning, our only known economic release is due out. That is the PMI composite. Now, as far as the news is concerned, we had a lot of the Eurozone PMI numbers come out earlier this morning, and many of them falling into contraction mode. If it's above 50, it's expansion mode. If it's below 50, it's contraction mode. So possibly a little bit of fear of a downturn in the European economy. The U.S. PMI is expected to uptick just a little bit. It's supposed to come out at 53.4. Again, that's not going to be out until 8:45 this morning, so keep your eyes on that. As far as U.S. stocks, we're ready to open a little bit higher this morning as investors and traders wrestle for position as the election nears. Crude prices remain range-bound after Vice President Biden said last night on the debate that he admits to moving away from oil and gas. There is a pretty long list of earnings today for a Friday during earnings season. We have had American Express and Barclays already out this morning. VIX down about 2% this morning. Last time I checked at 27.60, and the dollar index down about 0.25%, down at 92.73. The dollar continuing to struggle. Make sure you like, share, comment, question, feedback, and heckling are always welcome. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, as we are always looking for you and putting out more and more live content. You can get notifications when we do go live if you are subscribed to our YouTube channel. I want to say good morning to everybody. Felix, first one in the room. You win the prize. Dimitri, good to see you. Chris, Steve, Mike, Charles, happy Friday to you. Welcome back. I'm glad to be back, Felix. It's very nice to be here. Fan, great to see you. Very happy to be back. KJ, John, good morning. Hope you're feeling well. You look well. I hope so. It's been a rough couple of weeks. Subconscious, good to see you. Fanis, good to see you. Tanya, great to see you. Troy, Tanya, good to see you. James, good morning. Looking forward to speaking to you this morning, James. Vast West, glad to be back as well. So, yeah, I've been out for a couple of weeks, and it was a COVID infection. My wife and my whole family and I have been extremely careful. And all it took was one little lapse in protocol at my wife's work. She works at a high school in the health department, and she ended up with it and ended up giving it to me. My son already had it about a month ago, so he should be immune. I was never really in fear of going to the hospital. It never really did get into my lungs, thank goodness. I tend to be a little bit compromised in a couple of different areas, and it was exhausting. The fatigue that came along with it was probably one of the biggest effects of it. Headaches. I still can't taste food or smell anything, even though I'm beyond quarantine. Just take the steps necessary. I was never afraid for my life or anything, but just take the necessary steps. Wash your hands, socially distance. You don't want it, for sure. It is not a nice thing to have. So just make sure that you take care of yourselves. Ryan McMahon is saying lots of vitamin C and D3. We have been powering through vitamin D and vitamin D3 and vitamin C. as well as zinc. I don't know, we don't know for sure if that really made that much of a difference, but you know, I we've recovered from it, and we're continuing to recover from it. I'm back in the seat now. I'm going to try and get back into the markets in stride. We've got some interesting things going on. It is Friday again, and looking forward to seeing what we've got for us. I appreciate everybody welcoming me back and all the thoughts and well wishes and prayers that you've sent for the last couple of weeks. And you know, I pray that that none of us get this sickness. Hopefully, before long, science and with a little help from God, we're going to beat this thing and we're going to put it behind us, and we can go back to life as normal. Watched the debate last night, a little bit more organized. You know, whatever you think of it, all we ask is, hey, just go out and vote. Just go out and vote. Without further ado, why don't we jump into these markets? Let's take a look at what's going on. And again, thank you very, very much for the welcome. I know that Dan had you guys in excellent hands. I see Dan's here. Good to have you back, old man. That's me. That's the old man. And I'm very glad to be back. Brian, Miguel, Ute, great to see you. Looking good, feeling better. Just taking it easy and you know, looking forward to getting back into my routine, back into life, back into the markets, and I'm very happy to be back with all of you. You're all family to me, and you're very important to me. So let's take a look at the markets, shall we? As always, I'd like to start with the daily in crude. We've had a couple of weeks of range-bound activity. You know, we can kind of see here where our rollover. Where's my cursor? There it is. We can kind of see here where our rollover range was, and we're still largely inside that rollover range. There's a lot of uncertainty, creating balance and lack of conviction in the crude oil market. It's a short time frame controlled market. We're still in rollover range. We lost 15,000 in open interest off this low yesterday. It just lends to the fact that people are probably starting to even up a little bit, or at least hedge their positions for the coming the next couple of weeks. There's some important information, depending on who gets elected, as to what the face of the energy industry looks like. This is major stuff. So a lot of folks really kind of protecting themselves from major price moves, it would seem. And it seems that way in many of these markets, especially our crude oil or equities. Even in gold, we've kind of fallen into some sort of range. So I'm looking at this market as centrally located in an area of balance, looking at it at short time frame controlled, just opening up right now. Here is settlement. Settlement is 40.64. Put that on your charts. We're looking at this market as opening in range and in balance. I'm not in any real hurry to get involved in the crude oil market today, as we open in value from yesterday. There's very little change in the perception of value in price action so far. There's no overnight inventory. There's no gap. I'm going to stay patient, and I'm going to look for opportunities at the extremes of the overnight. And there's a lot of different targets and visuals for this market to seek out and see if there is activity. We've got our weekly kickoff low here, 40.20 down to 40 even. I'm looking at more of that. We've got a naked point of control from earlier this week up here at 41.37, 36 area. We've got our range high yesterday, our range low yesterday. I'm liking our range low from yesterday as a possible, execution level or an execution area. But again, I'm looking at this as I'm going to let this market settle out in the first hour of trade before really looking for any good opportunities, because again, it's in balance. It's in balance from yesterday. It's in balance for the last 2 weeks. I'm thinking that our better trade locations may come as the day goes on today. Now looking into the E-mini S&Ps, we've had some pretty good support here at our weekly kickoff low here yesterday. Actually, the night before last, down at $34. So we're seeing open interest increase yesterday off that low, indicating possibly we brought in some new business to the long side. We've been seeing this market one time framing lower in longer time frame on the daily chart here, and this is kind of presenting an opportunity to break that structure, which may bring in more buyers to the upside. If that is the case, we're in a good situation this morning because we're going to be opening with a gap. We have to make sure that we are well aware that there is potential big headline risks at any time. We are in an election. There's lots of information coming out seemingly on a minute by minute or an hourly basis as to things that are likely to affect this election. So headline risk is big for the next 2 weeks until after the election, until after we find out who is going to win this election. Headline risks are going to be big. Investors and traders, if they're not in protection mode, they ought to be. We're going to see a lot of exiting of positions or hedging of positions over the next couple of weeks as anything is likely to happen. So the increase in open interest off that low yesterday is encouraging to the upside, as well as a possible breakout higher. How do we handle that? We've got settlement up here at 34.49 quarter. Put that on your charts. The market, no real overnight inventory. If there is, it's probably a little bit to the long side. In other words, our overnight weaker hands traders have been accumulating longs overnight. When the U.S. markets open, they're going to be looking for help. They're going to be looking for bigger, longer, stronger traders, longer, stronger money to come in and continue to buy this market off this low that we put in yesterday and the night before last, down at that weekly kickoff level. So this gap is going to be pretty important. If we open with the gap and we can't close the gap, I'm going to look for opportunities to trade in the direction of the gap, which means I'm looking for longs. If we close the gap, it'll give me an opportunity to possibly look for better trade locations for longs on weakness if we are going to be breaking out of the one-time framing daily chart activity. That is what we're looking at this morning. If we can't close the gap, I'm going to view that as a breakout of the recent one-time frame downside activity on the daily chart, and I'm going to look for moves to the upside. Again, anything can happen at any time. Anything can change the face of these markets at any time. So make sure whatever you're doing, you're trading close to points of invalidation. You have your stops in. Make sure you're using market stops, not stop limits. Stop limits aren't guaranteed to fill. If you lose a few ticks and slippage, I'm okay with that. I'd rather be out of it than stuck in a position where the stop didn't execute and I'm out there in the wind with nothing but risk. Okay. So just kind of look at my notes here. Gap rules, overnight inventory, perhaps a little bit to the long side. I'm going to be watching this gap on the open very carefully and watching the opening range as well. The NASDAQ, a little bit the same and a little bit different than the S&Ps. Weekly kickoff low supportive yesterday. It took a little bit of a further dip down below it, but that's all right. It never accepted. We're not at the same risk, I don't think. We've got more space to go to the upside before we're going to break this one-time framing downside structure that we've been in since the recent high here on the 13th of October. We've got an inside extended trading hour range. We're not going to be opening with a gap with any likelihood here. We've got maybe 15 minutes here before the open. Here's yesterday's regular trading hour range. We're inside of it. we're inside value. We're not really seeing a big change in the perception of value of the Nasdaq. And again, that can change at any time. Keep your ears and eyes open for headline risks. The fact that we're inside of value from yesterday, again, lends me to patience and looking for opportunities as the day goes on. Maybe the opportunity will be at one of the extremes of the initial balance. That first hour of trade may give us an idea where two-sided trade has been accepted, and we'll look to take those trades at those extremes. We've got overnight high, value high from yesterday. Overnight low, not even to the value low from yesterday. So there is time, I think, to look for better trade locations in the Nasdaq as the market opens up and gives you daytime frame reference levels. Gold. Okay. The range that we've been in seems to be edging towards potential change. We've got only 2 points of contact here, but we see higher lows, we see lower highs. We're coming pretty close to the apex of this, and I'm going to be looking for opportunities at these extremes of these trend lines in either direction. If we accept outside of them, that may entice more business to come into this market, because yesterday we lost 11,000 in open interest on this move to kind of put this touch point down here, but we didn't really go anywhere. We're still range bound. We've been in this range the entire month of October. It's a pretty small range. There's a lot of indecision again. The open interest loss yesterday is something to take note of. It's another sign of indecision. And again, today may be another high headline risk type of activity. A lot of folks just watching the market. They're watching the news. The news algos are going to be hawking the news, and there may be some pretty substantial moves away from it, should there be any good headline risk, any good headline changes in perception of value. We didn't leave the opening range at the high nor the low in the gold or either of our currencies. We tested the overnight high. We did not accept above it. We've now closed the gap. Okay, so we're not looking for necessarily longs unless something changes. If we are looking for longs, I'm looking for longs at more prominent levels than just closing the gap. The market is opening between this point of control and this point of control. This is a potential repair day. When the market opens in a previous gap, then there can be a tendency for the market to go check the previous points of control for the 2 previous days. It is a distinct possibility. Did we already check our point of control in the overnight down here? Quite possibly. If we continue to move higher, my target is going to be to this point of control. We've got 1920 as weekly kickoff high. I like 1924 more because it has been supportive and resistant in recent history. So we've closed the gap. I'm not really necessarily looking for longs unless I can get better trade location. All right, now let's take a look at our currencies and we'll get down to business. Okay, so our weekly kickoff high has become support, at least in the overnight. This is our weekly kickoff high is 1790, 1780. We broke out above it and we drove straight to, almost to the tick, a previous weekly kickoff level at 1893. We're back in an area of consolidation that really was pretty sticky for quite a long time. Pretty tight levels here for our weekly kickoff levels, and in both cases they've provided some pretty decent opportunity. Where am I here? We lost 3,400 in open interest after this test of this previous weekly kickoff level yesterday. And as far as our 30-minute chart here, settlement down here at 118.30. again, we've opened between two points of control with a gap between the ranges. It is a possible repair day as well. Have we checked our point of control from 2 days ago? If we have, then our next target to the downside would be the point of control from yesterday, or perhaps even settlement. We are holding some overnight longs in short time frame here, some weaker money overnight longs. So, our overnight high and this point of control here, possible repair. This should be resistance. It offers us the opportunity to, number one, limit our risk. That's our job. That's what we do here. We limit risk. And then if we do, manage to get back down to settlement, that gives us another opportunity for a potential execution. 1790, our weekly kickoff low, 1790, 1780. Also a decent opportunity for us today. No, I don't want to do that. I want to do this. And the Japanese yen. We've been keeping the levels on the Japanese yen pretty wide as far as where we're expecting to see longer, stronger money come into this market. In the longer time frame, in the bigger picture here, we're putting in higher highs and higher lows. We can see this trend line here basically showing us the higher lows. Here's a couple of higher highs. But in all of this, it really seems to be much of a random walk. We lost 4,700 in open interest. I would say that might be a little bit of profit taking from those that have been looking for opportunities along these lows here. We got, in large part, almost an inside day from yesterday's extended trading hours. Take a look at the 30-minute, and then we'll get down to business. Okay, settlement, 94.30. Most of the overnight activity has been holding longs. If we get it back down to settlement, it might offer us an opportunity. Our overnight low also might be giving us an opportunity. Remember, we're in short time frame. We're in short time frame control. So shorter time frame levels are more likely to be respected. Okay? So, I don't see that there's any real urgency to get into this market. We're still in range from yesterday. We're looking for acceptance or rejection of yesterday's area of value. This might be an interesting opportunity for us. But again, I'm not looking at it as being a very big opportunity. And again, as a reminder, all of these markets are at the whim of potential headline risks. It's Friday. If you've had a good week, make sure that you don't destroy that today. If you haven't had a good week, if you get up some money today, and you've had a good morning already, there's absolutely nothing wrong with saying, you know what, I'm going to watch. I'm going to be, extra cautious. I'm going to just wait until the market screams at me and says, this is a cheap opportunity. This is a good opportunity. You're only going to risk this much for a trade that's worth this much. Then take the trade. Don't go searching for trades. You do that, you're going to find them, and they may not be the ones that you're looking for. I'm very happy to be back with everybody today. Again, thank you for all the thoughts and all the good ideas. Drink lots of water and hot drinks. Yes, been guzzling water. That's one of the things that my wife has been making sure that we are doing. So, right now I'm having a hot cup of coffee in the Hoag cup, and I'm going to go fill a nice tumbler full of ice and water and continue to make sure that I remain hydrated. And Ute, yes, this is a thing that can linger. We're aware of that. We are making sure that we're getting, again, plenty of water, plenty of rest, plenty of vitamins. And Lacey is doing good, Brian. She's banging at the gate in the kitchen right now. You can probably hear her whining a little bit. Yeah. Oh, Lacey, everybody says hi. Everybody says hi. Yeah, you're a good girl. And chicken soup works. I will take that. I'm gonna probably have a bowl of chicken soup today. That sounds really, really good. All right, folks. Trade well. No recap today on Friday, of course. Looking forward to seeing how your week ends here. Stay positive, stay happy, stay clean, wash your hands, do the things that we know are going to protect ourselves and protect others. I'm going to, continue to get better over the weekend. Looking forward to seeing everybody on Monday. It's going to be a heck of a month coming up ahead here with the election and everything else that's going on. Say a prayer for us, everyone. I will, again, look forward to seeing you on Monday. Get out there, make some money today. Get out there and profit, trade well, finish the week on a good note. Have a good weekend. Don't forget to do something very nice for yourself and something very nice for somebody else. Get out there, trade well. I'll see you on Monday. Blessings, everyone.